Okay, so this will just be an explanation of that prayer we just did. And what I want to say is, I just kind of made that up on accident when God was initiating me into the night and into the poverty of spirit. And I would lay on my side and I would feel this energy from God, shining poverty of spirit, and also mourning. Especially mourning came with it. Blessed are those who mourn. And I would naturally just be laying on the couch, or especially I like to lay on my left side and just start praying. And because I had begun to see and feel and experience how powerful humility was for solving my suffering. I wasn't raised very well. I had a lot of emotional trauma from my childhood and had a deep sense of unworthiness. So I built an ego around that, and it wanted to be good at things to impress, or I was always trying to prove I wasn't unworthy by doing something great. And I didn't know the answer to that at the time, but then God started to initiate me into this poverty of spirit. And it always felt, as I would notice it, it always felt like I was sinking deep down. And it would be kind of warm, and it would pull me downwards. It would feel like I was being pulled downwards. And I would just pray, please, God, please let me be nobody. Please, God, please just let me let go of all my lies and it's all so fake, and none of it is true. And just please, please help me leave that behind. And images came, just imagination. It was really an accident. But I would feel as if I had found a crack in the rock, and there's a Saint John of the Cross who talks about finding Christ deep, deep down in the crack of the crag. And that, when I read that he said that, it really struck me, that because I was looking for Christ way up in the light, and I never thought of finding it deep, deep down in the crack of the crag. And that thing that John of the Cross said came to me, and I would be feeling this downward pull of humility and getting smaller, and it just kind of morphed into falling down into this rock. And I would get way, way, way down in there in a secret place where it felt like there was no one to defend against, no one to impress. Like I really had left the world behind through this power God was putting in me and I was participating in. And so I would often find myself way down there, and then I wasn't really holding on to the imagery all the time necessarily, but I would feel so alone down there and so safe and so away from the threats and the people to impress and all the doings of the world. And I could pray down in there for God to please help me find humility. Please help me not matter. Please help me not be important. And it would, and I don't know, if you listened to that prayer, whatever that was that we just did, I don't know, maybe you experienced some of that, leaving the world behind, and it feels like you leave. And I don't want to color your experience too much because it's just yours, but see, God wants to initiate you into humility. It's not your own humility. It's humility from God ultimately, because if you think about it, we can't have anything that God didn't give us. There's nothing we have that doesn't exist in God first, and the only reason it exists in us is because God holds it in existence. So I think the fundamental fact of a Christian's life has to be rooted first in the fact that we have absolutely no root in ourselves whatsoever. And that was my attempt to help you experience that you only exist right now because God is holding you in existence. And there's even a quantum physicist, Wolfgang Smith, who has proposed a theory to explain quantum mechanics, and he calls it vertical causation. And so they're noticing way down on the quark level and all of that things aren't really what they seem. Things sort of disappear and reappear, and you can affect things at a distance with your consciousness, and that doesn't make any sense. And so that it seems as if at the quantum level, the reality is being held in existence, reality is influenceable by our consciousness. That's weird. And it's, no one has been able to figure out what this is. It's got, well, it seems to maybe even be a dead end, possibly. We can't figure it out. And Wolfgang Smith is a Christian quantum physicist, and he has proposed that it's you're looking at the mechanics, some degree of the mechanics of how God holds the universe in existence. That literally all of this quarks and all these little parts, and atoms, all these little parts are only holding themselves in existence because God, in God's consciousness, is holding them in existence. And that's the Christian revelation, that we don't exist of ourselves. And that is the root of humility. That is when Jesus says poverty of spirit, some of the saints talk about how John of the Cross again said, you come to God like a blind beggar. You don't know the way, and you have literally nothing to bring on your journey. You're utterly empty. This is the first state of being for us. This is the ground of our being. We exist, and God is holding us in existence. This is the ground of our being. God is holding us in existence. And any Christian awakening, any power that could come through us to change people's lives, to live and do and act in the world and to do good works, any of that is experienced apart from this ground of being is destined to become pride. It already is pride. It's already pride. So, some people fashion themselves to be really intelligent, and they attack Christianity with knowledge. They know everything. But that's not it. It's great to know stuff, but that's not it. That's not it. Some people think of themselves to be really good, and they're always doing good works, and that's good. So is the intelligence, but that's not it. When Jesus tells us the Beatitudes, he's telling us every state of consciousness, every understanding, every position of the heart that we must possess in order to be truly human, in order to be what God has made us to be, instead of what we have made ourselves to be. And all the things we've made ourselves to be are lies. They're just lies. We're trying so hard to hold them in existence. How professional you are, how smart you are, how strong you are, how clever you are, how artistically inclined you are, how spiritual you are. These are lies we must hold in existence all the time. We're meant to be naked and let those go completely and have nothing to defend and nothing to hold on to, because our security doesn't lie in our ability to hold our persona in existence. But think how much energy and time you spend trying to do just that. You don't have to do that. That is your burden. That is what's stopping you from experiencing God and heaven and love and truth. You don't need any of that because God is holding you in existence. And God made you, and you're one of God's ideas. And so then you're good. But we adorn ourselves with intelligence. These are identities. It's not that we shouldn't be intelligent or artistic. The qualities themselves are okay, but we identify with them. We adorn ourselves with things that are not true. They're ideas. They're fake. They're false. They're lies. Poverty of spirit seeks to shed those lies. Please let me not matter. A person must seek this out. It isn't something you can create or make happen, but you can dispose yourself to experience the reality of this. The reality. See, we're talking about when Christian theology is not ideas. They're not ideas. They're realities. And we can experience those realities, but we have to let everything go. We have to let everything go. You cannot be a refined person and go to heaven. You cannot be those things. Those things must be shed. Everything must be shed. And I hope that prayer gave you a taste of how it feels to be free from all of that for a moment. That freedom, if you did taste it, if you felt like you got away from everything, that freedom is baseline. That's baseline. That's like step one to Christian ascent, to seeing God and being a peacemaker in the world. That freedom is step one. Without that foundation, we can build nothing that is good, nothing that is true. So we seek it on purpose. For me, it was daily, every day. A lot of times during the day, I just try to find that. And please, God, help me not want to matter. Please, God, help me not want to matter. There's levels of freedom that come with this. You'll see if you grow in it. There's many, many levels of freedom. And I want to say, I almost pointed it out during the prayer video, but I didn't quite dare. I thought I might make it too complex. But did you notice down in there when you're small and God is very big? Did you notice how big it can seem? Like, it goes out forever. There's a relationship, it seems to me, between poverty of spirit and heaven. You let go of all your airs you're putting on. You let go of all your BS, everything you think you are and know, and how cool or smart or dumb you are or shameful you are. You let it all go. You just let it all go. And then there's this smallness of you and an infinity of God, and it goes way out. This is spoken about in the Orthodox Christian Church, this cosmic awareness that Christian monks and nuns and lay people, as they grow in their holiness, they begin to experience God. And since they're experiencing God, God's everywhere, so they start to experience everywhere. So then all of a sudden the universe is it's big and you're experiencing its vastness because God is in it and you're in God. There's a cosmic awareness. I think there's a profound relationship between being extremely small and that cosmic awareness. And if you can only have one, you're better off being small. But if you can be small, you can have that big too. Because we're designed to participate in God. Okay, that's it. Thanks, everyone.